What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's the weekend, so we're talking about a few suggestions for anybody who's motivated to get on YouTube and start creating their own videos. And I want to speak about how I think it's important in everybody's life, whether you're on YouTube or not, to be at a point where you're somewhat done learning and you're ready to start teaching. And not that the learning part is definite. We always want to make sure that we're learning something new, but the latter is extremely important. When we're ready to start imparting the things that we've accumulated in our lifetime, the positive experiences, the negative experiences, and all the lessons learned to those people behind us who are just starting to walk down that same path. Maybe we could push them further along than we were, or maybe we could deter them from going down it if we're sharing some of our negative experiences. But either way, if you're, like me and you're beyond 40 years old, I believe you have so much to share, but people tend to dismiss what it is that they've experienced. It makes me think about when I, would be in the corporate office and I'd been there for a few months and somebody would say, "Hey, we have somebody new coming in. I want you to start training them." And I'm thinking, train them? I've only been here for a few months myself. But the truth is, in those few months, I'd learned a lot of things. And in those few months, what I know is something that somebody brand new coming into the job doesn't know. They look at me as somebody who has a lot of experience. They look at me as somebody who could get them from where they are to where they need to be. And I'm not the preeminent expert, right? I'm not somebody who's written dozens of books about my job. I'm not the person who is a professional resource for everybody in the industry. I'm just somebody who's been doing it longer than the person behind me, and so I have something to share. And I think we should all look at our information in that sense, because it's not worth dismissing. We have something that we could give to anybody who's behind us. We could either give it to them in the sense of propelling them down the road further than maybe we were at their point, or we could deter them from going down the road at all if we're sharing things that didn't work for us or sharing some of our negative experiences. But either way, we have to understand that there's something there and it's not worth dismissing. A lot of times people, I believe, are deterred from learning from the preeminent professionals because they speak in such a wide overview of the subject matter that sometimes it's extremely difficult for them to relate to. I think people relate better to somebody who's one or two steps ahead of them in the process than someone who's 100 steps in the process telling them what to do, because so many people have a sense of disbelief or a sense of insecurity where they're feeling like, I can never be where you are. That feels impossible. It's like if somebody has no money, they don't want to pick up a book on how to be a millionaire. They don't want to pick up a book on how to be a billionaire. They want to pick up a book on how to save their first $1,000. They want to pick up a book on how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. This is much more feasible to them. It's much more relatable. It's much more attainable. And when they see that all they have to do is focus on putting one foot in front of the other, then it makes the goals realistic and it motivates them and inspires them. So if you're one or two steps ahead of somebody, don't think that you don't have anything to share. You definitely have something to share, and you definitely have something that's going to help somebody who's coming right behind you in a way that may be much more practical than even the quote unquote experts. So that's what I really want to emphasize. Don't dismiss your information. Don't dismiss your knowledge, and don't dismiss your gifts. A lot of times, actually, I'll say every time, we've all been imparted with certain gifts, but we may not know it because we think we have to identify our gifts. And a lot of times because of ego, and I say that in a positive way, we don't want to identify our gifts, right? We don't want to say, hey, I'm a fantastic communicator, or hey, I have a great camera presence. Hey, I look really good, right? But what I think we should do sometimes, instead of thinking that we need to label our gifts, is to listen to what other people tell us all the time. A lot of times, other people are telling us what's special about us and what's good about us, but we don't take it seriously. We just think that somebody is just talking, and we dismiss it because we're trying to be humble, maybe. But we shouldn't. We should actually take it seriously, what people are telling you. If somebody's always telling you that you have great stories. If somebody's always telling you that you're really funny, if somebody's always telling you that you have a great smile, you have a great presence about you, you communicate very well, you dress very well, you have so much information in any specific area, if you're hearing this from several people, then maybe you should understand that this is your gift. This is your thing that you have to share with everybody else. This is your thing that other people are going to connect to when they hear you discuss it. You may not have acknowledged it because it sounds arrogant to acknowledge it. Hey, everybody says I'm so good at this. I am good at this. You don't have to take that approach, but just understand that what they're telling you, there could be something to it, and you're just going to replicate it and see how it works to many more people who hear that same message from you. But either way, we're at a point in our lives where we don't want to leave our bodies. We don't want to die with the information that's inside of us. We have so many things that we could share to other people, so many things that maybe your family will want to take a look at in the inevitable, case that something happens to us, and they'll be able to get that information from you. There's many, many opportunities to do that, and YouTube is a fantastic place to begin that process. And if you don't know what it is that you want to discuss, then I think it's important to start looking at your expertise, looking at the gifts that many people acknowledge that are within you, and look at your curiosities. Look at the things that you have been exploring for many, many years. And while no, you never did it professionally, you still have a wealth of knowledge in that area that you can share with any other person who wants to learn this. Many people learn about, let's just say, spirituality or personal development, and there's not a tangible marker for these things, right? Unless maybe you're the head of a church or a pope or a spiritual leader, well-renowned. Those are kind of the only metrics. But outside of that, you're just a person who's accumulated a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge, and because of that, you have something to share. Share your learning, share what you discussed that day, share what you read that day, share what stood out to you that day. And you'll eventually find that you have really an endless amount of things that you could discuss, and you could discuss it from the perspective of somebody who's learned in this area. And be open-minded to how the subject will shift. Be open-minded to the comments that you get if somebody introduces something new to you. That's another area for you to explore and discuss on your channels. And you'll see that not only are you going to have an endless amount of things to discuss, but because we're always working within your curiosities, within your skill sets, within your interests, that it's going to help keep you passionate about making these videos as well. You're not reaching out, chasing what somebody else is doing that's successful. You're doing what you're already doing in your everyday life. You're exploring what you're already exploring in your everyday life. You're discussing what people are already telling you every day. So you'll find that it'll be pretty seamless when you look at it in this manner. So that's it for this one. I hope that's helpful. If it is, share a comment below. I'd love to get your input on what direction you're going with your videos and how you're finding ways to explore different subject matters on your channel. And I'll talk to you next time.